Yes, Madhu, we can.
Thank you. Again, on my personal behalf, I thank each one of you for taking time to be with us in this selection of, the best presentation in the context of, application of technology to wildlife conservation. So we've been, for last 2-3 years, we've been engaged in, establishing a lab on wildlife conservation with the help of Dr. Karthikeyan in the University of Kashmir. And in that journey of 2.5-3 years, while we are trying to take the technology that is well curated at CCMB and at the same time can be very, very effectively used in wildlife conservation, but somehow it's not spreading out as much as one would wish. So we tried to do that in the last couple of years, train people in molecular biology and inform them about the kind of, the accuracy of that identification of animals and things like that. So while doing it, we also felt, there are many more technologies that can be sourced to, to empower the efforts on conservation and wildlife. So in that context, we thought one way to, encourage people to participate, because in our opinion, there are so many technologies which are developed for some other context, and they may have a huge relevance in wildlife conservation. But somehow one has to make them understand such a technology's application in the context of this one. So we wanted to bring those people who think like in these lines together. So in that context, we have, initiated this IDEATHON on wildlife conservation, application of technology in wildlife conservation. So we have got several applications, but we took the help of a couple of reviewers who are also in this committee today to reduce the number to few so that it is much more easier for us to listen to them more in detail and evaluate them. So another point I want to make it here is we wanted to give some award, total award maybe around 1 to 1.25 lakhs to these two to three awardees based on the inputs of this committee. So we will come back to this issue of award and the amount of award money at the end of the talk when we discuss each of these proposals together. So that is my way of looking at it. But I thank each one of you again for being with us. And this is actually, I would consider it as version 1. We want to do more of these things and bring in more awareness of bringing technology into wildlife so that the conservation efforts will be much more effective. And when we are looking at this, there are so many things that come to our mind. So we want to bring those things to make this, the global need for wildlife conservation. As I'm saying, it is not only limited to India. What works in an Indian forest works elsewhere in the world. So we want to keep that spirit going on and then identify those technologies that are more beneficial in conservation. And I'll stop here. And if any of you have any clarifications or observations, the committee members, I would like to, let's listen to them. Thank you.
So we have assembled a very good, focused group of jurors, I may say. So I would just like to quickly introduce our jury for today. So Dr. Karthikeyan, he is the principal scientist at CCMB Lathons. Sorry. So Dr. Karthikeyan is the chief scientist of Lathons Hyderabad. And he is a conservationist and a scientist. And I'll just ask him to give a little brief about himself and why he wanted to do this idea.
Hello, everyone. It's a wonderful occasion to meet in this particular forum of gli-IDEATHON. And I'm really happy to be part. In fact, I was telling Dr. Madhu that I'm really proud that AIC CCMB is able to do this. Primarily because they have an outlook which is favoring technological interventions in conservation. And the need of the hour is actually putting these technologies to action to promote conservation. And we might become actually one of the world leaders if we do this proactively and can set an example to the world. So I really look forward to the ideas that have been put forth and also listen to the other colleagues who are jurors and hear from them the comments and suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Karthikeyan. And next, I would like to introduce Mr. Suman Agassi. So I met Suman, sorry, I'm so sorry. I missed both the names. Sorry. Saket Agassi. Saket, you there? Yeah. So I think Saket is having a little issue with the audio. So Suman joins us from HSI. He's a conservationist and he's been doing a lot of work and in promoting conservation, and I think his work has really impressed us. Of course, HSI India is also a collaborator with us. So Sumant, over to you to make an introduction and to talk about the idea.
Thanks so much, and huge thanks to CCMB for coming up with this idea, because I've been in the space of wildlife conservation for about 20 years now. And honestly, every day we feel the need for some solution that's tech-based and tech-driven. Since it can be implemented at mass, it doesn't need a huge amount of human resources, which is really lacking in the field overall. So I'm very excited to be a part of this and to see what we can do from our end to present more real world problems going forward, and also offer avenues for testing some of these solutions on ground. And also then, of course, talking about it to governance stakeholders who we interact with every day. So I'm really looking forward to this first edition and many more editions to come, honestly. Thank you so much for having me on board.
Thank you. Saket, are you able to see us? Saket, I think you're having some audio issues. I can't. Well, yeah, mic is on.
The audio is not
I will have
connected.
this section. So, also we have Dr. Bindu. She is the VP of IKP, and IKP has been a collaborator and a partner with CCMB in setting up the cozy lab in Srinagar, from which we are anchoring this particular ideathon. So, Dr. Bindu, over to you.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the invite. I'm very excited to be here. And Ritika, you've already mentioned IKP. I am representing IKP Knowledge Park. It's a science park and incubator headquartered in Hyderabad and a physical presence in Bangalore. I also lead our One Health efforts, an incubator currently, a virtual incubator at IKP Knowledge Park, and would love to hear about the technologies that are going to be presented today, and to see if you guys, I'm sure you're getting excellent mentorship from Dr. Karthik and Dr. Madhu, but we can definitely have a chat from a more One Health perspective, or just to have a chat. I'm very interested to know what you are doing. And Ritika, very, very happy to see this effort. The day we were chatting, I wanted to ask you, what is the update? Anything good happening? Please let me know. And then I got this email, so it was, very much in the magic. So thanks a lot. Looking forward to today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll just start with the ideathon. I think Saket is still having some issues with the audio. Just a brief about Saket. Saket is from Tadoba. He heads. So he is heading he's a social scientist by profession, and he calls himself a technologist who's turned into a conservationist. A very interesting mix, I would say, that we need people like that in this field. He is one of the he has also worked as a technology for conservation partner with the THD, that is the Habitats Grant. So we are excited to have him here, and I hope that he's at least able to hear us. So with that, I think we will start with the ideathon. So as we have we've already spoken to the finalists, and I would just like to tell the entire group here that we are going to be presenting for 5 minutes.
Did you ask Surya and others?
Can you see that? Yeah, he's there. Oh, sorry, Surya is joined?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so the third juror is the fourth juror is Dr. Surya Rao. Dr. Surya Rao is a technologist and a very, very old partner with AIC CCMB. He is the founder of Altheon Tech Solutions and a conservationist by heart. Surya, if you're there, can you just introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm not a doctor, by the way. I'm not Mr. Surya.
I always miss that, because you did so much to the technology. Yeah.
Hi, Surya.
Hi, Karthik. Hi, Madhu.
Hi, Ben. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So basically, I'm a water tech entrepreneur. We make medical equipment for kidney dialysis as well as research laboratories. But my passion has always been wildlife conservation. We have a foundation, a Section 8 foundation in Karnataka in the Western Ghats called Brahmagiri Eco Foundation. So we've been always engaged in wildlife conservation. And Altheon, our startup, will hopefully be a big CSR conduit for conservation going forward. So I was very happy when Dr. Madhu asked me to join this. Looking forward to the Ideathon. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Saket is here. Saket, quick introduction.
Hi everybody. This is Saket Agasti. I have been into conservation, like tiger conservation specifically, from over a decade now. It has been my passion. My graduation is in computers, but I shifted after working in IT for 2 years, and I've been pursuing. I have been on different roles of government organizations as well as non-government organizations. So currently, I am based in Tadoba Andhari Tiger Reserve, which is in central India, in Chandrapur district. And my profile is a social scientist here, but I have dealt with technology for conservation verticals in my prior roles as well.
Thank you so much, Saket. Wonderful having all of you here. And thank you so much for taking the time out. So we're going to start with the first presentation, that is by Greenverse, Mr. Naveen Anand. I can see Naveen on the screen. Naveen is here.
I'm here, ma'am. This is Naveen from Greenverse. Good evening, everyone. Right. So, should I share the screen or it will be shared because I've already shared the PPT before?
Yes, you can share this PPT. Just quickly, we are starting a presentation from here.
Sure, no problem.
Sorry, Ritika?
Yeah, just a minute.
No issues. Yeah.
Ritika, did you say something?
No, we're just starting the.
Oh, sorry, I will.
What is happening? Somebody's mic is on. No, man. It's yours.
Yeah.
Can you hear us? No.
Yes,
Yeah.
Ritika, we can hear you.
Okay, great. The presentation is here. Okay, so Naveen, your presentation is on right now. We can start.
Yeah, sure. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Naveen. I'm the founder and CEO of Greenverse Solutions Private Limited. And we are basically trying to talk about the idea of development of a technology platform for reducing deforestation. And that's what we are going to do. So, can you change the slide, please? So the problem statement of deforestation, I think everybody in here understands it. So let me not again try to get into the problem. What we are trying to understand is how exactly we are going to approach the problem and what is the technological solution that we want to provide. So one of the three important problem statement is that there is a lack of comprehensive digital platform for land restoration near the forest. And that is what we are talking about, the value chain spanning from planning to impact measurement. The second problem statement is the deforestation happening due to no focus on the needs of the local communities, and that have dependency on forest products like for fuel, medicine, and timber. And the third one is the lack of analysis on soil conditions, water quality, rainfall, weather, etc., in order to identify the climate resilient, economically viable trees for the farmers. And that is something which we identify as a problem statement. Next slide, please. So we know that there is a huge amount of impact of deforestation on the common people, at the same time for tribal people, for the communities living near the forest. And these are some of the examples of the impact of deforestation that basically happens. Wildlife human conflict is one such thing we are seeing in Wayanad, the loss of enormous amount of lives, whether it is still not impacted, directly not connected with probably what we are discussing here, but that is something which is a reality. We are also talking about forced migration of tribal people from the travel belt areas into the cities, carbon release, global warming, and disruption of the water cycle. Next slide, please. So what exactly are the statistics of deforestation in India? There are lots of numbers, but one very important factor that we are basically seeing is that we are losing the forest cover from northeast, we are losing the forest cover from south, even in the Western Ghats. And the most important factors are because of the pressure on the local people in order to have a dependency on the forest areas for different types of things. And at the same time, the climate change, which is actually playing a havoc and the devil, in order to, because of which the crops are basically failing. And because of failure of the crops, the dependency of the people on the forest area keeps on increasing. And that is something which we want to try and tackle using a technology platform. Next slide, please. So what we are basically building, we are already in the MVP stage, is a technological solution, which is part mobile application, part web application, which we are talking about a technological solution for the land restoration near the forest areas and creating a whole value chain to restore the forest and also reduce the deforestation, which also includes the analysis of all factors of soil quality, water, weather, rainfall, farmer and community needs, which is very important to understand the economic community needs, using analytical models that we are basically developing for selection of most economical trees for the farmers. And we are more focused on tree-based economy for the people who are living near the forest areas. Third part is implementing a scientific methodology for land restoration and stopping deforestation by planting native tree species of India for sustainable long-term solutions. And the fourth one is the market development so that the communities who are living near the forest area, which are dependent on forest, are able to basically sell their products and have a better economic condition over a period of time. Next slide, please. So where do we exactly stand? So we have already developed our MVP, and these are some of the screens that you can basically see by registration of the farmer or the field task that is going to be basically done by the farmers. Everything can be configured. There are many features that we have basically included, like one can have the images, one can have the videos, one can geotag, do area audit, they can map the areas and things like that. At the same time, we have also got the dashboard that you can basically see, which has got total amount of area, number of farmers, total amount of area that is under replantation, tree plantation, etc. That basically makes sure that anybody or any organization which is basically working, any government agency basically working, has a bird's eye view of everything that is happening. Next slide, please. This is a screenshot of the mobile application that we have, where we talk extensively about, first of all, doing a lot of analysis, like even capturing the data of water, soil documents that have basically been done, even doing a geotag for that matter. So this is just an example of different types of mobile screens and the and different modules that we have basically developed in the MB phase. Next slide, please. This is a reporting dashboard that we are basically talking about. This one such screen, but there are lots of slicing and dicing of the data, download of the data, usage of the data to understand how exactly the work basically goes on, what are the different types of trees that are basically important, needed, and what are the type of trees that have been planted. Next. We also have the GIS and remote sensing dashboard from where one can basically see where exactly the areas are located and what is the total amount of area and do the further analysis. Next. So the core engine of Greenverse Solutions is basically the models that we are basically developing and building, still in the development phase. And what we can also see is the fact that we can basically calculate NDVI, and at the same time, we can go at an individual level of tree. As you can see on the third image on the right-hand side, that there are lots of red circles and red squares, at the same time blue and green squares. Everything represents something different. Each and everything is basically representing the tree level data, whether the tree is in good condition or there is a gap, and all these things can be analyzed. And this is something which is the AI models that we are basically developing to make sure that we understand how things are going, how trees are growing, and what is the economic benefit the farmers are going to get. Later at a date, even if we are talking about carbon credits that needs to be issued to the farmers, these are going to be very, very helpful. And each and every tree can be marked, geotagged, and the same thing can be analyzed over a period of time. Next slide, please. This another such talking about the monitoring part of it, of how exactly we can do this satellite monitoring on a remote basis. There's something which basically talks about near the forest area, how exactly different types of plots of land, different types of plantations, different types of trees that are basically growing can be mapped, can be compared, and can be also seen in the future of what exactly is going to be the final output, how much amount of money the farmer can basically make. Next slide, please. The socioeconomic impact of land restoration for the farmers or the communities near the forest area or near the near the old areas is massive. We are talking about farmers who are going to be benefited with increase in the income, losing the dependency on the forest. Communities like tribal communities who are depending on the forest, they will be benefited. Nutrition and health of tribal communities or women and children is going to increase with more number of fruit trees being planted within the forest, within the village premises. Carbon sequestration is going to happen, biodiversity is going to be impacted in a positive manner, and a sustainable method of making money for the farmers and communities is going to be evolved. Everybody will be connected through the internet, everybody will be connected through our technology platform, and that is something which will help us to monitor and at the same time help the communities not be totally dependent on the forest 100%. Next slide, please.
Nothing, 30 seconds to wrap up.
So this is our management team, no problems, ma'am. This is our management team. I'm the founder and CEO. Dr. Nutan is the co-founder. Mr. Chitranjan Jeena has 25 years of experience building our product, and MJ Vasudeva Rao is our advisor in strategy. Next slide, please.
Okay, Naveen, 30 seconds to wrap up, please.
Yeah, sure. Just next slide, please. So we are currently being incubated at NSR Cell, that's IIM Bangalore, also NASCOM and Green R, which is an initiative from TechnoServe for the sustainable companies in the country. So we have been selected there. Next slide, please. This is a certificate from WRI, where we were the top 15 finalists in entire South Asia, which was supported by Startup India, WRI, Land Institute, and AIC Sangam. With this, I'd like to stop here and over to you for any further queries. We have another set of slides. If you want, we can refer to them. Thank you.
Okay, so questions for Naveen and Greenhouse, please.
Yes. Ms. Naveen, I just want to ask you
Sure.
that this IoT or whatever you have developed will is probably something that is already in place, right? Some I think the Madhya Pradesh Forest Department has something like this to capture their plantation data. They have a territorial forestry documentation through this kind of an app which they have developed. So how is it something that is unique for your idea that I'm just interested. I remember seeing something like this.
Okay. So, sir, I'm to be very frank, you are telling me about the Madhya Pradesh Forest Department that has developed. So, of course, there are companies which are developing it, or a part of it they have already developed. I'm not denying that fact. Second thing is why we are basically different, or what is the innovation part of it, comes into the factor that we are simply not talking about the fact that we will be planting trees. We will be planting trees only after understanding of what exactly are the requirements of the forest dwelling people. So in order to stop deforestation, we have to make people economically viable, economically strong. It's a socio-economic issue because most of the deforestation is basically happening near the forest area because there's a lot of pressure on the forest, or the climate change is happening. One such thing, what we are talking about is the engine or the analytics that we are basically doing to understand what is the reason behind it, and helping the people not to be dependent on forest, either for fuel or for timber or for any other reason for that matter. And that basically encompasses also the fact that when we are going downstream, when we are talking about the value chain, which I talked in the first slide, that what is the value chain around it, is the fact that we'll be also helping the farmers who are living near the forest area in order to sell the product, in order to become economically strong. So it's just not about, planting the trees or geotagging or area audited. It's also about the fact that the human intervention of understanding it, and towards the end, selling it and getting the farmers the money which they basically need in order to be having less and less amount of dependency on the forest, is something which we are basically talking about. So talking about the uniqueness of it, or the differentiating factor of it, I think this is the differentiating factor that we have. We have our own analytics, and we have our own, algorithms in order to identify the type of trees, the kind of trees, the number of trees, the the planting pattern, and what type of mix has to be there. So.
Just add on that.
Sure, sir.
So who would be your users?
Who will be my users, right?
Yeah, users of the app.
Yeah. So, so the users, when we are talking about the users will be basically the farmers who are living near the area, the community, the tribal communities who are living near the forest or inside the forest, because they have the rights for basically going inside the forest. They'll be our users, and probably the second question will come like, who is going to fund? Like, why exactly those people are going to pay us? And this is a very common question, which probably I think I should answer. So of course, we understand that the farmers or the tribal people or the tribal communities cannot pay us. So of course, this has to be, applied through some government agency, or through United Nations agency, or any other organization for that matter. Because of course, we can't expect, the poor farmers or communities to basically pay us 5,000 rupees or even 10,000 rupees in a full year. So this is something which probably has to be supported, from the government side, from the organization side. Only then we'll be able to basically implement it. And once, I'm pretty sure that once we are able to basically showcase that this helps to reduce the, dependency of the people on the forest, on the native forest, definitely this is going to be adopted in a much more larger scale, not only in India, but, other countries as well. This is what is my firm belief, probably. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Suman, other members, please.
Sorry, Dr. Bindu, go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, maybe we should use the finger thing. Okay, thank you. So I really like the idea of land restoration. I think biodiversity conservation is a terribly important problem to solve globally. So that part is really wonderful, and the technology that you've developed is also looking very promising. My question is around what Madhu asked. I was just writing down on my diary about customers, and he asked about your, who will be your buyer. So I have a similar kind of a question.
Sure.
What other business models can you anticipate for such a solution, which is going to be most likely bought, and I'm using the word bought, by the government,
Okay.
not a customer?
Sure, sure. So, probably what we are thinking about also is the fact that land restoration is something which is extremely needed. India has almost 96 million hectares of land which are degraded. And the same technology that we are basically developing can also be used by farmers across the country for restoring the lands. We are talking about FPOs. We are talking about individual farmers who are progressive in nature, who have lands, who want to basically diversify their risk portfolio. Instead of having 100% traditional agriculture, they want to also have a part of their land, half acre, 1 acre, to be converted into fruit trees, mixed fruit trees or timber trees or medicinal plants, and also biofuel. So these are some of the ways by which, we will not be only depending on government agencies and grants, but we can also basically move ahead and have this understanding where we can make more money, directly from the market, from the farmers, also FPOs for that matter, and even private companies, B2B companies, where we can basically do the land restoration.
So where are you with that part of your business?
So with that part of our business, we are already done a pilot with farmers in Kolar district in Karnataka. There are almost 6 to 7 farmers in Kolar district where we have basically worked. And the problem that they were basically facing is that the land was extremely rocky. So the traditional agriculture that we are talking about, either they are going to grow small vegetables like tomato or brinjal. They were not much interested in a long-term thing. Plus, Kolar is not like having a lot of rainfall. So that was the challenge, land restoration. So we have basically approached them and we have given them the technological solution in order to basically go ahead and plant trees like tamarind, like mango, in a particular fruiting pattern. And they have basically started with that. So we are talking about almost 12 to 15 acres of land, not much, but we have done our pilot. We have not taken any money, but we have used it as a method to understand better, like if farmers will be interested to pay us at a later date, and the results are very positive. So we have not made any money, but of course, the investment is good because we got a very positive response and they are basically growing it now.
Last question is on the reverse movement of the transboundary movement of animals, because now you are creating greener space. So earlier, due to urbanization, we were taking away the land from animals. So the distance between humans and animals was decreasing, leading to more the spread of zoonotic diseases. But now with land restoration, you are again creating a green space.
Correct, ma'am.
So there will be a reverse movement of animals. So have you considered that?
We have considered that also. The fact that yes, once the space become more green, probably the animals will try to come into an area where, say, for example, there are fruit trees. So naturally, animals will be tempted to come, and probably there will be conflict. I'm not denying the fact. But we have seen some very interesting technologies which are, trying to basically create a sound or, a kind of sound where basically animals will not come in there. So we are not developing that technology yet, to be very honest. We are still focused on our product because it's still in MVP phase. We want to launch it into the market. So to answer your question, probably right now we are not, looking at how exactly we'll be able to stop it, to be very honest, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
No problem, sir.
Hi, Naveen.
Sure.
Thanks so much for presenting. It was really nice to hear about your work as well. I do think there is a lot of merit in the other business model that you just spoke about with farmers. My question is, I'm very cautious about anything that does with habitat restoration in general, because the general philosophy has been we need more plants. And in the effort to have more trees, I've seen a lot of grassland and a lot of rocky outcrops also being taken away to plant more trees, which is all good habitat by itself. I think from school we've been made to believe that desertification is what is the enemy, but desert is a habitat by itself. It's not the enemy. So I'm very cautious about where trees are planted and what kind of trees these are and what it does to the natural ecosystem that's already there. And that's something that I'm really concerned about. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on how you go about looking at areas where you might take up plantation as well?
Okay, so I think you basically have talked something very interesting and important as such, because probably planting trees without thinking too much about it probably is not good, because we have been seeing a lot of things that have basically happened in Bangalore, because I am a part of I have been in Bangalore, and we see that trees have been planted for no economic reason. So one of the things, in order to start with the answer, is the fact that we are not saying that we will continue to plant trees anywhere and everywhere. So the first part itself is that we are focused on how to recover the land that from where the trees have been lost. So if you read it, it's more or less like land restoration. So land is restored when, say for example, the trees have already been chopped off, it's totally barren, nothing is growing. And so when we are talking about not probably 100% desert, total desertification, we are talking about the areas where, say, hume cultivation, which is happening in Northeast, which is a reality. We also were in touch with FAO, which were basically talking about how to replant the trees in those areas which have been totally chopped off. What we are talking about is the places where deforestation has happened, actual deforestation, where the trees have been chopped off and it's like barren, or the village or communities which have land area, but their dependency is high on the forest area. So how do we reduce the dependency? Economic condition wise, you grow the trees which you are dependent on forest for, and then your dependency starts to decrease, and at the same time you become economically strong. And that is probably the thin line between saying that as the question that you basically asked, like indiscriminate planting of trees probably is not very good for the economy, because every type of habitat is different and they have a uniqueness in itself. So to answer your question, we are more focused on the fact that the areas which have either nothing to do with forest area or a typical ecosystem, we are talking about them, or the farmers areas which are totally chopped off, like in Uttarakhand. Most of the farmers have left the villages because there is no economic work to do. Now, if we give them some work, there will be there will be something for them to sell. And this is what we are also talking about, socio-economic factor, that human beings have to be involved in that. They cannot be written off. And that is something which we talk about only the places where the trees have been chopped off, where desertification has not happened, but deforestation has happened. Those things we want to recreate, but not with 100% forest area, but also with trees that basically help the people so that their dependency on the forest is less. I think this is the only answer which I can give right now, because it's a long research topic, long discussion topic, but probably this is something which we are only focused on right now, sir.
Thanks. I'm just going to leave you with one other thought as well. I think the deforestation caused by many factors, and particularly communities who are dependent on it, is such a minuscule number in comparison to linear infrastructure, for instance, which I think we've lost over 70% of forest patches to large projects, everything from roads to power lines to pipelines to dams, for instance. Which I think is a bigger area where we lose forest cover in comparison to what communities may cost to it. Again, not a question as such, but I'd just request you to dwell on that bit as well.
Sure, definitely. I take every every feedback that comes my way in a positive manner, because this helps me to build my product better, my team better. So I think I'll take that, and definitely thanks a lot for this comment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Saket, you had a question?
Yeah. It's not a question, but just an inquiry, like how much is what is the operating cost currently, and do you have any numbers what you're talking about, the economic benefits which are getting, maybe from the use case from Polar itself? Like, do you have any numbers about them?
So as I told, we are basically doing land restoration for 15 to 18 acres of land. 6 or 7 farmers are there. They are basically participating in this program. And we are expecting that after the land is restored, almost after 3 to 4 years, because trees will take time to grow. So from the land from where the farmers were basically getting probably 30 to 40,000 in a year, they should be able to start getting almost close to 1.2, 1.5 lakhs in a year, because of the fruit trees that we have basically recommended them per acre. So it's not small, per acre per year, and that is the income that the farmers will be having. So they will be making 50, 60,000 profit after input costs and things like that. So that is our calculation that we have basically done.
Surya?
Yeah, so I had a couple of questions, Naveen. Are you a non-profit or are you a for-profit company?
We are a for-profit company, sir.
Great. The other question was in terms of use cases for deforestation or reducing forest degradation, which is our passion, I guess, as this group, right? So who's your target? Is it the forest department? When you say I want to reforest degraded lands, who is allowing you to do it, or who is asking you? Do you have clarity about that?
So yeah, we have the clarity about that. So of course, forest department is one such thing. Government agencies are the second thing, and also the private limited companies. Now, definitely you would have heard this green credit scheme that has already been launched by Government of India. Now, in green credit scheme, the patches of land which are like totally degraded, the private companies can basically go ahead and they can plant the trees and they'll be getting a green credit. Now, the only question is this green credit. So far, Government of India has not said that how exactly any company will be monitoring benefit to it. Our company directly fits, our business model directly fits into that, like mapping of the area, geotagging each and every tree, monitoring it on a remote sensing basis, and making sure that the companies are updated about all the things that are happening. So this is another business model from where we can basically make money. So what I'm talking about is basically the technology part of it, which can be fit, which can be changed and fit for private limited companies. For government, when the government is talking about reforesting areas or say Project Tiger or Project Elephant that is basically running, you want to have elephant corridors, we can be the partner. We are talking about whole technology that will be used for monitoring, that will be used for planting, that will be used for understanding the needs of probably the animals at the same time communities. So that is where we talk about it. So of course, private limited companies are there, farmers are also there, and NGOs and governments are also our customers. This is what I can say, sir.
Yeah, the farmer side sounds a little bit weak, frankly. I mean, from the conservation point of view, the farmer side of things is not adding up. But the green credit thing, have you had any conversations with companies which are doing like regreening patches? Have you had any conversations?
So far, no, because it's still a lot of things are actually changing in green credit scheme. Government keeps on changing the terms and conditions. So far we have not had discussion, but we understand like what exactly is the whole scheme and what technology will be used. So we are following up it and we are developing the technology based on that.
Have you spoken to any forest department for compulsory afforestation lands?
No, sir, we have not yet talked about.
So it seems like you've done a lot of work with farmers like in Kolar, more than the conservation side of things, looks like, correct?
Probably yes, but we have friends who have been a part of it. So, you know, we understand like what exactly we are developing in a tech side.
Right, but your green credits lead and the compulsory afforestation with forest department is something you could really make a dent in.
Definitely, it will really.
It depends on your company what you want to do first, what you want to do more efficiently, like right. You also want to sustain a company and all that, correct?
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, I would if I were at liberty to suggest.
Definitely.
So do follow up on the green credit and the land compulsory afforestation thing with the forest department.
Sure, sir. Sure.
But sure, there's a use case in monitoring geotagging trees, stuff, like monitoring over a period of time and all that. How are you funded, Naveen?
So we have got a grant from VIT TBI for making up this particular tech. And WRI India also gave us the funds of 2.5 lakhs, the certificate which I showed. Plus the money has been put from my side and a couple of friends. So this is how we are basically funded.
And how many full-timers do you have?
So right now we have close to 9 full-timers, but the senior people are not taking any money. So, you know, we have just the developers, software developers, whom we are basically paying on a monthly basis, on a contractual basis in order to cut down our costs. So that's
one thing we've learned being entrepreneurs is pick one sector and focus strongly on it. That's what we've learned. So green credits and compulsory afforestation sounds good because I don't care too much about humans. It's more the forest that I care about. So maybe that's something to push strongly.
Definitely, sir. I know that that's one of the catch areas which I really want to capitalize on. In Grid scheme, there is a lot of money and companies are ready to invest because we are seeing companies like NTPC, ONGC, Oil India, and they have big pockets, they have big money, and they can basically fund a lot of things. Plus, it's also a compulsion for most of the government PSUs to basically get into that. So we understand the government legality, we understand the government pressure, and probably that will work in our favor. This is what we understand it.
Thank you and good luck.
No problem, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, one question. Yeah. A quick question. I mean,
sure,
see, I saw in your presentation that you said there is an augmentation of the biodiversity values, right? So, have you done anything to? Are you planning to do anything to even make that as a value addition to the whole project? Because people are interested in watching birds, butterflies, and that can be an attraction to go and see these restored sites and derive revenue for the people who are putting their efforts to raise these plants. Because it's not just the trees, there are going to be many herbaceous shrub layers that are going to come. And they are going to bring in a lot of animals, insects, fauna, which birds particularly. And bird watching is a very big untapped potential in the country. It brings a lot of revenue in the West, in Europe and North America, but here we have not even done much to sell it to people.
So so to answer your question, the product that we have basically developed, the mobile application that I was talking about, it is integrated with the servers. One has video, one has got images, one has the geotag locations and everything. So when we are talking about the customization of it, like you said, like like birds or animals or small ecosystem or small minor food chain that has been basically developed, the evidence can be basically collected, evidence can be submitted within our servers, and the same thing can be projected to the people. So if you are talking about some places where there is a lot of scope for ecotourism, or the places which have been recovered, and there are some unique birds or unique animals, or a very beautiful place that has been developed over 4 or 5 years, then definitely the same thing can be projected on a almost like couple of minutes distance. Like say for example, somebody clicks a photo of a bird or hornbill, and he says that, okay, this is the hornbill which I have got in so and so geo coordinates. It can be immediately published onto the website. So that capability we have. How do we market it into a commercial thing in order to help the people? Probably we'll have to sit and we'll have to understand more, because still in the idea phase with just MVP. But these capabilities we have already developed. So that is something which I can probably take from you, that how we can basically develop it on a later basis.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I think we can move on to the other ones. Thanks, Naveen.
So thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Just a quick heads up to the evaluators. Take a minute and please input your scores in the Incubator Pro portal now. And let us know if you face any problem in that.
So the next presenting is VR Zoom. Mr. Padmanabhan.
Thank you, ma'am.
Just a minute.
No, sure. Wait.
Yes, you can start, please.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd like to introduce everyone to my student Sahana. Can you see the slides?
Yes, we can. We have displayed right here. You can go ahead and start presenting.
Yeah. So I'll leave the floor to Sahana.
I'm Sahana, a student from Kumaraguru College of Technology, Coimbatore, and I'm presenting the PowerPoint today in behalf of my team. So our idea is VR Zoo, and okay, so the problem statement of our project is basically traditional zoos, how traditional zoos affect or worsening the life quality of all the humans on this planet, and how governments and taxpayers subject the animals as a pro, and also how it is affecting the health quality of all the human beings as well as animals. So this project was just an idea from our my friends and myself, and this is still in an idea phase. We are still talking with other incubators, and basically in the existing the proposed solution, our solution is virtual zoo through holograms, where you can actually connect with animals, not only just animals, it's birds and also live forest, evergreen forests, and you get to experience all the resources, and you get the same experience where you go and visit them in person. Our well, basically zoos are just for entertainment, and our target users are families, students for educational purposes, and basically it's an idea for sustainable development, where we can improve the quality of animals on this planet. And also it's about animal enthusiasts who wants to know about animal and all the forest plants and trees. So there are target users. And basically through hologram zoo you get an immersive experience, where hologram zoos are not like VR. VR are like you get to see everything, but hologram zoos are where you can experience them in 3D. You get to see all the, for example, if you want to see how a lively lion walks, you get to see them through the hologram zoo, and where not even one realistic detail is missed. You can also touch them and feel, not like exactly feel, but feel them, the 3D image, the 360-degree of an animal. And you get a personalized experience where you can like walk around, take your time, take in all the experience you want. And this is basically an idea where like you can for example, polar bears, not all of us can go to Antarctica and visit them I mean anytime you want. And tropical rainforest, it's not like a safe and like a good idea to go visit them as well. And African savanna animals. So this is like a project where you can like go visit anytime you want to. Maybe for example a 40 cent area can be like more than enough for us to experience. And like you can experience a bird sanctuary, a zoo, or if you want to like experience an aquarium themed kind of a zoo, you can do all that just in a very small space. Where and traditional zoo takes a lot of resources and space. Like for according to me, I think animals basically go extinct because they don't like get to experience their like their environment and live in that environment. So this project is basically about how we could stop them, and but still experience all the and explore all the ideas of how animals live and all that. So our project is hologram, where you can you get to see the animals, also sensors where you can smell the you know evergreen forest and all that. Where 3D model, I think 3D models are basically very important for educational purposes, where it can include an harmless educational quality to all the students or anybody who wants to know a lot of things about it. And it's like we are bringing AI into life. You can experience AI and all the animals. So there is already a company working. So there is already a company like it has already worked on hologram zoos. This happened last year in 2023 in Australia, where they already did a trial on hologram zoos. It's not like the same solution, but it's already existing solution. And this has actually seen a very big profit compared to, they've already done a lot of trials before, but this one really brought a very big profit. Next slide. And what that zoo actually looked like. So this had a tunnel where you can a tunnel where you can, it's like forest, but it's not like you get to see them in 3D. It's just a picture where you see all of that above your head. And they also had a pathway where you can experience different lives of different animals. And hologram sky roof, where aquariums of like aquariums, and photo booths for your pictures. After like your entire experience, you get your pictures. You can get them through Bluetooth.
Time is up. We are opening the floor for questions.
Okay, so these are
Yeah,
Yeah,
Karthikeyan has a-
yeah, just leave it there. So Sana, a good talker, and I like your presentation. But I also want to add that not all animals in zoos are suffering. Yeah, not all zoos or in caged animals are suffering. But yes, you're right. You've highlighted a very important issue. But I just want to put forth an argument or a suggestion. Why don't you consider this as a digital twin concept? If you have the animal in the cage, yes. Why do you want to replace it with a digital? Instead, make a digital twin. You
Okay,
call
sir.
it a digital twin. There is a cage in the lion, there is a lion in the cage, but it's not visible because it's sleeping behind a small wooden log. But the people are trying anxiously to look at it. But there is a digital twin available from where you can, see the animal, sense the animal through smell or through any other, sensory stimulus. So why don't you consider this as an alternative rather than say it is going to replace zoo animals?
It's not like we're trying to replace the traditional zoos, but whereas you if I mean, like, there are people who cannot like travel one place to another place just to visit a zoo. Not all of us are free all the time, so it's just if there is a virtual zoo in your own place, or like, like in your native, you could go and visit them when you want it. It's not like we are trying to replace the traditional zoos.
So would you consider a digital twin concept?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Sumant, you have a question?
Yes. Thanks. Thanks for that. I think the idea of animals in zoos not being kept well is, like Dr. Karthikeyan said, is it's true for some zoos, not necessarily for all. But I think zoos also in a country, there is a lot of challenges with how it's implemented, right? I mean, there are concerns for sure, but the idea is also for the zoo to serve greater purpose. As much as I personally don't like zoos as well, I began my career by watching animals in a zoo. If it weren't there, I probably wouldn't have been where I am today. So I do agree with you that there's a lot of room for improvement, but it does have its purpose as well. My question to you is, I think the way you're presenting it, there is a lot of educational value in learning about these animals in the format that you've suggested. What stops it from becoming a interpretation center or a center for education versus why the terming it of a VR zoo, and why not look at it as a center for education about animals?
Maybe that's another way of looking at into our project. I would consider that, sir.
Yeah, because the minute you say VR zoo, it to me it sounds like we do want to get rid of zoos at some point. We don't want to see animals in captivity. No one likes seeing it, and I don't know if that's going to be feasible in a very practical sense. I think these can be added on as centers for interpretation or education, and that may serve a much greater purpose versus anything else. Yeah. And also, I do want to ask you, what do you feel about the feasibility of this in terms of costs, and who would be your users, or who would be the audience for this?
Uh, Basically, schools, sir, for extra education and a better quality of education.
Mhm.
And it's not like only this part of people can experience it. So for now, it's just an idea. Maybe like we'll work on that, sir.
Sure. And any idea on the cost or the feasibility of it from a cost and technology standpoint? Does it exist within India at this point?
Not yet, sir.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If you have a question, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. It is like I was impressed by the idea of zoo, and I'm drawing from the same like my past evaluators mentioned why the concept of zoo. Zoo is actually making like taking the focus over that. Suggesting from what Sumanta also said, I am working at Tadoba and I know the potential of ecotourism. And like as we were drawing, like why to visit a zoo? Like we have safaris, and people like the audience which you are targeting is basically who cannot access safaris, which is a big thing. So you can actually develop something on that ground more than focusing on a zoo environment. That would be more rather enriching experience and immersive experience if we are talking about creating that ecosystem. My one of my technical question would be like as you're saying it is a hologram thing. Do you think that it would be serving the purpose of depicting the animals equally like the way they are in nature? Because I from my knowledge it is more about light, and like it would be based out of light. So would it be a real experience, or it would be more serving the purpose of entertainment or amazement than a real education thing? I understand the size matter, but apart from that, how is it possible? Is it like, do you have any insight on that?
You don't touch the line.
So I think so basically it is for the educational purpose, but maybe we cannot give the actual experience as an actual zoo, but we still can do something to improve the educational quality, because the world is moving around AI and all that. So I think this will be helping people, sir.
Surya, you have a question?
Oh, am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So great to see youngsters engaged in conservation related activities. That's great. But like somebody else said, I have a concern about the economic feasibility. To make a realistic looking animal, it takes a lot of money. So if you look at maybe like any of the Hollywood movies that have good quality graphics of animals like tigers or lions, very, very expensive to make realistic graphics, one. And two, have you done any sort of budgeting about what it would cost to create a sort of environment like this? Have you done any budgeting?
As far as I did researches on the trial that happened in Sydney,
Yeah.
it actually does take a lot of effort and money, like from that perspective. I think like we would at some point we will be able to collect resources and help or funds from people when the idea is more executable. So I would.
Okay. Okay. Have you thought about our friend from Tadoba said, right? So there's a lot of viewership for people who do vlogs on Safari at Tadoba or whatever. So it's much simpler to invest in high quality cameras, audio equipment, and bring perhaps forests or animals into into a portal or some sort where you get immersive. Of course, not it doesn't have to be does not have to be invasive, but in a non-invasive way, if you could bring the natural experience into people rather than replicating a zoo, perhaps that's something I would like to you to think about. Is it possible?
Sure.
There's a lot of viewership for people who want to see what others have experienced in Tadaba or Kanha or something. Some of us go, but some of us cannot go, right? So a lot of viewership on YouTube for people who want to experience that secondhand. Maybe explore that.
Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions? Thank you, Team BR Zoom. Thank you so much for the presentation. We will take the next group up. This is Noah Tech. I'm sorry, Apico, Mr. Himanshu Yadav. Can we have his presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Himanshu, you can start.
Okay, ma'am. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Himanshu Yadav. राजस्थान एंड से हूँ मैं। बेसिकली हमारी जो कंपनी है, एक हमने एक डिवाइस बनाया हुआ है जिसमें हम एनिमल्स और ट्री की बचा सकते हैं, मतलब फॉरेस्ट एरिया को हम बेसिकली बचाया जा सकता है हमारे डिवाइस से सिंपली। तो इसमें हमारा सिर्फ एक सिंपल सा मोटो है कि है पेड़ आपकी सुरक्षा हमारी रहती है इसमें। तो अगर नेक्स्ट स्लाइड कर दे तो मैं आपको प्रॉब्लम, हाँ, तो बेसिकली जैसे कि हमारा डिवाइस वर्क करता है, जैसे कि 500 मीटर उसकी हमने रेडियस माप कर रखी है, 500 मीटर के एरिया में वो डिवाइस हमारा वर्क करता है बेसिकली। तो उसके अंदर जैसे कोई इलीगल एक्टिविटी करता है, जैसे ट्री कटिंग, हंटिंग या माइनिंग भी होती है फॉरेस्ट एरिया के अंदर, तो हमारा डिवाइस उसको मिनिमम 30 सेकंड के अंदर अंदर उसको डिटेक्ट कर सकता है और उसकी इंफॉर्मेशन वहाँ पर नियर बाय रेंजर जो फॉरेस्ट गार्ड होते हैं उनको इन्फॉर्मेशन प्रोवाइड कर दी जाती है, देन उनके जो सुपीरियर होते हैं उनको प्रोवाइड कर दी जाती है। तो इसमें हम आग और इनोक्स से भी बच सकते हैं, उसकी भी, जैसे कि हमारा जो डिवाइस है उसमें हम इन फ्यूचर उसमें अपग्रेड करेंगे तो उससे क्या है कि जो फॉरेस्ट में आग लगती है लाइक समथिंग, जैसे उत्तराखंड और हिमाचल प्रदेश में बहुत बार फॉरेस्ट में आग लगती है और वो हमें राइट टाइम पे इंफॉर्मेशन भी नहीं मिल पाती उसकी भी। तो उससे क्या क्या है कि सारे बहुत सारे फॉरेस्ट एरिया खत्म हो रहे पा रहे हैं। दैट्स इनफ मैम, बस यही है।
Okay. Questions?
हाँ, हिमांशु,
यस सर।
हाँ, आप कैसे पहचान पाएंगे कि कौन सा जानवर है वो साउंड से?
सर बेसिकली हमारा जो डिवाइस है वो साउंड पे वर्क करता है। जैसे मान लीजिए कोई ज्यादा मात्रा में पेड़ काट रहा है तो उसमें च्युइंग से एक मशीन की द्वारा से काटा जाएगा, तो उससे हमारा डिवाइस उसको डिटेक्ट कर लेगा, क्योंकि उसके अंदर हमने डिवाइस के अंदर ऑलरेडी मतलब वो उसका साउंड सिस्टम डाल रखा होता है जो उसको क्या है कि मैच करता है कि ये सही है, करेक्ट फॉर्म में है या नहीं है। तो उसके रेडिएशन पे ही वहां पर उनको रेंजर्स को इंफॉर्मेशन प्रोवाइड की जाएगी। और जैसे एनिमल हंटिंग होती है तो उसमें बेसिकली यूज की जाती है गन का। तो जो लाल
नहीं,
वाली,
आप जो बोल रहे हैं ना एनिमल हंटिंग होती है गन के साथ, वो गलत है। वो बहुत सारे हंटिंग स्नैर से होती है, फंदा डालते हैं ना, वो क्लच वायर लगा देते हैं। क्लच वायर पता है ना, गाड़ी की क्लच वायर,
हाँ हाँ,
इसका फंदा बनता है और उसको लगा देते हैं। वो तो आवाज ही नहीं करेगा, जानवर उसमें फंसेगा तो जब तक वो मरेगा वहीं पे पड़ा रहेगा।
सर
ठीक है।
जैसे कि अ, हाँ, मान सकते हैं कि इस डिवाइस में कुछ प्रॉब्लम जरूर हो सकती है कि हम हर चीज को कवर अप नहीं कर सकते, बट हम कुछ चीज को तो बचा सकते हैं जो हमारे हाथ में होगी। आज भी हमारे राजस्थान क्षेत्र के अंदर मोस्टली देखा जाता है कि हमने जितना भी देखा है, मैंने खुद पर्सनली भी जाके देखा है, तो वहां पर लोग बाग गन से ही शूट करने जाते हैं शिकार करने के लिए।
राजस्थान ठीक है। बाकी लोग
Yeah. Saket, you can go ahead.
हाय हिमांशु। आपने जैसे कहा, लाइक मैं पहले, इससे पहले मैं सरिस्का टाइगर रिजर्व राजस्थान में भी काम कर चुका हूँ 3 साल। आप बोल रहे हैं कि जैसे आपने बोला कि गन शूटिंग होता है पोचिंग के लिए, वो बहुत मिनिमल होता है, जैसे सर ने बताया मोस्टली
हाँ
स्नेर पे ही होता है। बट उस पे भी जैसे आपने ही बोला है कि 500 मीटर ये बहुत कम स्पैन है, रेंज है आपके डिवाइस की टू
हमारी रेंज
डिटेक्ट।
बढ़ा भी सकते हैं और कम भी कर सकते हैं बेसिकली।
ओके। एंड लाइक आप जैसे बोल रहे हो, तो अगर मेरे पास एरिया अराउंड 1,000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर है, तो हमें
यस सर।
कितने डिवाइस लगेंगे ऐसे?
1,000 किलोमीटर है तो सर जैसे कि अगर हर एक डिवाइस हमारा 500 मीटर का भी हम रेंज रख रहे हैं तो वो
काफी
दो,
ज्यादा नंबर हो जाएगा उस पे, है राइट?
बट
तो
सर
हाँ,
हम ये भी तो चाह रहे हैं ना, क्योंकि हमने काफी स्ट्रगल करा है इस लाइफ में। मैं इस डिवाइस को काफी टाइम से लेके गवर्नमेंट के सामने भी गया हूँ, मैं यहाँ तक कि डीएफओ के सामने भी गया हूँ। तो हमारा तो बहुत ज्यादा खर्चा भी आता है। तो अब वो हम कैसे फिल अप करेंगे आगे चल के भी, क्योंकि कंपनी को तो लॉसेस में नहीं डाल सकता हूँ मैं।
कितना
मुझे
कितना कॉस्ट लगता है एक डिवाइस के लिए?
मेनली अगर एक डिवाइस को रेडी करने के लिए करीबन 50 से 60 हजार में एक डिवाइस रेडी हो जाएगा।
50 से 60 हजार।
हम्म।
थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
Suman, do you have any questions?
थैंक यू। हिमांशु, सॉरी,
Yes, sir.
मैं भी आपसे यही पूछना चाहता था कि अभी प्रोडक्ट कौन सी स्टेज पे है? क्या आपने
Sir,
टेस्टिंग किया है ये प्रोडक्ट, और कोई
product-
राजस्थान या फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट से आपको कोई कुछ भी इंटरेस्ट मिला है, आसक्ति मिली है कि वो परचेज करेंगे?
नहीं सर, इंटरेस्ट दिखाते कि हाँ, उन्होंने कहा है कि जैसे डीएफओ सर जो होते हैं वहाँ पर सिटी लेवल पे, तो उन्होंने कहा कि हाँ आपका डिवाइस बहुत अच्छा है, आप हमें कोटेशन बना के भेज दीजिए। हम कोटेशन बना के भेज देते हैं उन लोगों को, वो हमारा फिर उसके बाद में कोई जवाब नहीं देते हैं।
आपको लगता है कि आपका यूज केस अभी ठीक से बैठा नहीं है, प्रोडक्ट मार्केट फिट नहीं है अभी?
नहीं सर, प्रोडक्ट को नीड है क्योंकि हम ये देख रहे हैं कि फॉरेस्ट आए दिन कम होते जा रहे हैं,
हम्म।
और जो ये चीजें हो रही हैं कि जो एनवायरनमेंट चेंजिंग हो रही है आज जो फेस कर रहे हैं, इसकी भविष्यवाणी मैंने तो पहले की दी थी लोगों की। फॉरेस्ट एरिया लोग मतलब फॉरेस्ट को नापने का तरीका ही बदल दिया गवर्नमेंट सरकार ने, तो मैं उस पर कुछ रिएक्ट नहीं कर सकता हूँ, ये मेरा पर्सनल व्यू रियलिटी में। बट हमने जो देखा है कि फॉरेस्ट एरिया कम होता गया है, और सेकेंडली चीज जो क्लाइमेट चेंजिंग जो प्रॉब्लम है अब आएंगी, स्टार्ट होंगी 2025 के बाद में, और वो बहुत ज्यादा लेवल पे हो जाएगी। हम ये चाह रहे हैं कि जो पेड़ अभी बचे हुए हैं उनकी रक्षा की जाए। मेरा सिंपल सा मोटो में यही था, तो
ओके।
कुछ ऐसा बता दें कि हम जो डिवाइस से पता कर लें।
और आपकी प्रोडक्ट की कॉस्ट क्या होगी? आप कितने में बेचेंगे डिपार्टमेंट को या गवर्नमेंट को?
कुछ मिनिमम 70 to 80 के बीच में तो रहेगी रहेगी। बस, क्योंकि इसमें हम वन टाइम लगा रहे हैं, तो वो 2 साल तक अगर कोई दिक्कत होती है तो उसको रिप्लेसमेंट, प्लस इसमें फिर मंथली जैसे ये रहेगा कि इसके अंदर सर्विस चार्ज भी रहेगा हमारा।
तो ये इसकी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कहाँ से आती है? बैटरी पावर्ड है कि क्या है?
बेसिकली इसमें हमने क्या है कि सोलर का यूज करेंगे, जो कि 24/7 चलता रहेगा।
ओके।
इसमें सोलर पैनल का यूज कर रहे हैं, और सबसे अच्छी बात तो इसमें हम क्या है कि रिसाइकलिंग पे भी रहेगा हमारा कुछ डिवाइस, रिसाइकलिंग मॉडल पे भी रहेंगे।
और
ये दो तरीके।
जो भी ये सिग्नल पकड़ेगा वो ट्रांसमिट कैसे करेगा? ये टेक्नोलॉजी क्या है इसके इसके पीछे?
सर बेसिकली इसमें सेब और हैना इनका यूज हम कर रहे हैं अभी तो, और अभी सॉरी एक कॉल लगा था।
हाँ।
तो उस वजह से मतलब अमेजन की भी अच्छी है, मतलब कि जो उनका डाटा है वो बहुत अच्छा है इस फील्ड के अंदर। हम उसको भी यूज करने की सोच रहे थे, बट उनकी क्या है कि कॉस्टली बहुत हाई आ जाती है पेमेंट वगैरह देके, क्योंकि उनका जो डाटा वो मतलब क्या कहते हैं अपने, क्योंकि मेरे को इसका टेक्नोलॉजी का थोड़ा कम एक्सपीरियंस है, वो मेरी टीम के पास है, और बेसिकली आइडिया मेरा था इस फील्ड में,
ओके, थैंक
तो
यू।
डेवलप करने की मेरी।
थैंक यू मच।
ओके।
तो हिमांशु जी, आपने जो डेटा ट्रांसफर की बात वो मिस हुआ। हाउ डू यू ट्रांसफर डेटा? वहां से डिवाइस से डेटा कैसे बाहर निकलता है?
सर जैसे कि वहाँ पर जो जिस जैसे मान लीजिए कि मैं हमारे राजस्थान का स्टेट के नाम से एक एग्जांपल से आपसे समझाता हूँ। जैसे हमारे कोटा का मैं एग्जांपल लेता हूँ, तो कोटा में एरिया है, तो उसमें हमने जैसे कि वहाँ के जो रेंजर्स गार्ड है उनका डाटा उस डिवाइस के अंदर इंफॉर्मेशन ले रखा है, जैसे उनके कॉन्टेक्ट नंबर, तो वो ले रखे हैं, तो उनके मोबाइल पे ही वो अलार्म जनरेट होगा, जिससे एप्लीकेशन बनेगी तो वो एक्टिवेट हो जाएगा। अगर वो नहीं उठाएंगे तो किसी दूसरे के मोबाइल पे चला जाएगा।
नहीं नहीं, आपकी डिवाइस से जो भी अलार्म है वो मतलब कैसे लोरा से जा रहा है या सिम कार्ड से कैसे जा रहा है वो कम्युनिकेशन?
लोरा वो अपने रेंज के लिए, जैसे कि लोरा टेक्नोलॉजी का तो हम उसमें यूज कर सकते हैं जिसकी हाई रेंज बढ़ानी हो। जैसे बहुत सी बार ये होता है कि फॉरेस्ट एरिया के अंदर नेटवर्क की समस्या आती है, बहुत सारे फॉरेस्ट एरिया में नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम इशू रहता है, तो हम उस जगह पे लोरा का यूज कर सकते हैं।
आप अभी क्या इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं? व्हाट आर यू यूजिंग नाउ?
सर बेसिकली अभी तो आर्डिनो पे ही चल रहा था हमारा।
नहीं नहीं, डेटा कम्युनिकेशन कैसा होता है डेटा का?
सर इसका मेरी जो टेक टीम है वो पार्ट संभालती है बेसिकली।
और
इसका
इसमें
मेरे
क्या क्या सेंसर्स है, कौन से सेंसर्स है हिमांशु आपके मशीन में?
में माइक्रोफोन्स हैं और मुझे चेक करना पड़ेगा सर, लिस्ट तो जरूर मेरे पास है क्योंकि पैसा मैंने ही लगाया इस डिवाइस के अंदर, तो मेरे पास में लिस्टें हैं वो। तो अगर वो डाटा भी चाहिए तो मैं वो प्रोवाइड कर सकता हूँ।
ठीक, थैंक यू।
ओके। वैसे सर इसमें एक चीज और बता सकता हूँ मैं। इसमें सबसे बेस्ट यूज हमने एक प्रोटोटाइप के लिए स्टार्टिंग में जब हमने यूज किया था उसमें सेकेंड हेड मोबाइल का यूज किया था, और वो काफी अच्छा वर्क भी करा था उसने, क्योंकि उसके अंदर हमें जो चाहिए थे, जो मेरी टीम ने बताया था कि हमें जो सारे जो इंक्रीमेंट चाहिए होते हैं वो एक नॉर्मल सेकेंड हैंड स्मार्टफोन के अंदर मिल जाता है, क्योंकि उसके अंदर जो माइक्रोफोन वगैरह और जो वो ऑडियो कनेक्टेड और नेटवर्क वगैरह वो सारी कुछ कनेक्टिविटी उसके अंदर इजीली रहती है।
जी थैंक यू।
ओके सर।
Yeah. Can I just add one more question to it?
Sure.
Yeah. हिमांशु, अगर समझ लीजिए किसी ने ये डिवाइस को ही डैमेज कर दिया तो फिर क्या होगा? अगर लोगों
सर
को एक बार पता चलेगा कि ये डिवाइसेस सब जगह हैं।
किसी ने हमारा डिवाइस को डैमेज कर दिया है या तोड़ दिया है उस जगह से, या बहुत सी बार जरूरी नहीं है कि किसी इंसान के द्वारा हो या जानवरों के द्वारा भी हो सकता है, तो ऐसे केसेस में ये होगा कि उसकी इंफॉर्मेशन हमें मिल जाएगी, क्योंकि हम 24 घंटे उस पर मतलब डिवाइसों पे नजर रखी जाती है कि कौन सा एक्टिव है कौन सा नहीं है, या उसमें कोई टेक्निकल इशू आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा, तो उसको हम रिप्लेसमेंट करते हैं। और अगर इन केस अगर हमें ज्यादा टाइम लग रहा है तो हम नियर बाय जो उसके पास में जो डिवाइस लगेंगे उनकी रेंज को हम बढ़ा देंगे, तो उससे क्या है कि वो जो एरिया छूट रहा है तो वो कवर अप हो जाएगा।
Thank you.
Okay.
Any more questions? Vindu, do you want to ask me some questions?
आपका ये प्रोडक्ट जो है अभी कौन से स्टेज पर है, एंड आपने कितने पायलट्स किए हैं और कितने आपका डेटा कितना रिप्रोड्यूसिबल है?
मैम हमने इसका प्रोटोटाइप तो रेडी किया है, और इसका प्रोटोटाइप मैंने जहाँ हमारे जो लोकल फॉरेस्ट ऑफिस होते हैं सिटी वाइज में, मैंने हर एक सिटी में जाके दिखा के आया हुआ हूँ इवन। तो उन्होंने बस इसका कोटेशन मांगा मुझसे, मैंने उनको कोटेशन दिया है, कोटेशन देने के बाद में उनका कोई रिटर्न कॉल या कोई जवाब नहीं होता है।
आपके पास कोई बिजनेस मेंटर है जिससे आप इसके बारे में बात कर सकते हैं, एक
मैं
बिजनेस मॉडल बनाने के? हाँ जी।
जैसे बस हमने अभी कंपनी को ओनली फॉर रजिस्ट्रेशन करा रखा था, क्योंकि वो स्टार्टअप इंडिया के थ्रू हम देख रहे थे कि उस टाइम पे वो चल रहा था कि इसमें कुछ बेनिफिट मिल जाएंगे आप ये करोगे तो हमने भी वो मतलब लाइन होती है वो करी थी, कंपनी को प्राइवेट लिमिटेड में रजिस्टर्ड किया, देन इसके बाद में हम वहाँ पर गए, और काफी जो इंक्यूबेशन और भी होते हैं उनमें भी गए थे हम। तो एक ये यहाँ के एग्रीकल्चर ही थे वो भी, तो उन्होंने कहा था कि ये हमारे लाइन नहीं आती फॉरेस्ट की, तो हम इसमें आपकी कोई मदद नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि फॉरेस्ट का कोई ज्यादा फ्यूचर नहीं होता है, ऐसा कहा
नहीं,
जाता है
ऐसा
मुझे।
मत बोलिए।
बट मैं
नहीं, आपको एक बिजनेस मेंटर की बहुत जरूरत है। आप देखिए, आपको अगर कोई बिजनेस मेंटर मिल सकता है, आप टीम सीसीएमबी से बात कीजिए, एंड आप देखिए आप उसको एक बिजनेस कैसे बना सकते हैं, बिकॉज आपको सस्टेनेबल होना खुद बहुत जरूरी है। समझ रहे हैं आप हिमांशु?
मैम एक फ्रेंड है मेरे जो खुद एक स्टार्टअप रन करते हैं इसी लाइन में, फॉरेस्ट इंडस्ट्री में, वो फॉरेस्ट के उपकरण बनाते हैं सेफ्टी गार्ड के जो उस तरीके से, और जो शार्क टैंक में भी गए हुए थे और वहां से उन्होंने फंडिंग भी ली हुई थी एक्चुअली।
ठीक है, मैं समझ गई, नो प्रॉब्लम। ऑल द बेस्ट टू यू हिमांशु।
चीज यही होती है ना, मैं गवर्नमेंट सपोर्ट करे कि हमें कि हाँ इस डिवाइस को लगाया जाए फॉरेस्ट एरिया में, तब जाके हमें कुछ आगे बढ़े।
देखिए, जैसे एग्री में आपके पास एक वो होते हैं, आई एम फॉरगेटिंग द नेम, कृषि मेला।
हाँ
सिमिलरली अगर आपके पास फॉरेस्ट से रिलेटेड ऐसा कोई मेला गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइज करती है, तो मेरा आपसे सजेशन यही रहेगा कि आप अपने प्रोडक्ट को वहां जाके डेमोन्स्ट्रेट कीजिए, जाके दिखाइए। जब तक आपके पास बिजनेस मेंटर आप नहीं किसी से कंसल्टेशन पे लेते हैं, आप जाके अपना वो डेमोन्स्ट्रेट कीजिए प्रोडक्ट, जिससे कि आपके प्रोडक्ट को थोड़ी विजिबिलिटी मिले, और अगर इसमें कुछ कमियां हैं तो आप उसको इनकॉर्पोरेट मतलब उसका आप उसको हिला सकते हैं, समझ रहे
हाँ,
हैं?
कोई दिक्कत नहीं है मैम। जैसे हम तो यही चाह रहे थे कि हमारा सिंपल सा प्लान था कि हम 3 सालों से इसके ऊपर पहले आइडिया स्टेज पे थे। लोगों ने कहा कि आप प्रैक्टिकल कुछ इसका प्रोटोटाइप रेडी करो, तो हमने इसका प्रोटोटाइप रेडी किया। देन उसके बाद में लोग बाग अपनी बातों से मुकर जाते हैं कि वो फंडिंग नहीं करेंगे हमें। तो जितना भी हमारे पास था हमने इसमें सब लगाया, क्योंकि मैंने बहुत कुछ इस पे लगा चुका था, क्योंकि मैंने देखा था कि आने वाला जो टाइम है क्लाइमेट चेंजिंग की वजह से काफी प्रॉब्लम में झेलेगा।
हिमांशु,
तो
इसलिए
बस
कह रही
एक
हूँ आपको बिजनेस मेंटर की बहुत जरूरत है। आप प्लीज बात कीजिए। Karthik and Madhu, is there any forest mela or some sort of a congregation of forest reserves where, all these startups today that have presented, barring the virtual one, I think they can go and show their product.
Sure.
या
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we need to support them whichever way we can.
And,
Thank you, Himanshu. All the best. Sorry, Ritika.
No, please go ahead. So, I was just mentioning कि हमारे पास में भी आप एक मतलब हम आपसे बाद में बात करते हैं हिमांशु जी। After this particular thing, Shravan will get in touch with you again.
ओके मैम।
So, I'm going to invite the next group, Noah Tech, Mr. Deepu Varghese, to present.
Yeah, hi, thank you, Ritika.
Thank you.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
All right, great. Okay, so good evening and hello everyone. My name is Deepu Varghese. I'm the founder and CEO of Noah Technologies. We are a nature tech startup building AI sensor networks for detecting ecological threats and natural hazards. And today we are thrilled to present our innovative project, Wildcard AI. Next slide, please. So friends, our planet is facing severe ecological threats and natural hazards, like which significantly impact biodiversity and ecosystems. So firstly, human-wildlife conflict is becoming increasingly common as humans and wildlife compete for space due to habitat loss. So this is not only endangers wildlife, but also poses risk to human lives and livelihoods. Also, deforestation is another critical issue. India has lost an alarming 7 lakh hectares of forest in the past 5 years alone. So this loss contributes to climate change, disrupt ecosystems, and accelerates species extinction. And poaching is also on the rise, turning regions into hotspots for illegal hunting endangered species like tigers and rhinos. So this jeopardizes our wildlife heritage. Also, wildfires are becoming more frequent and intense, devastating large areas of interest. So these fires not only leads to loss of biodiversity, but also release massive amounts of greenhouse gases into atmosphere during climate change. So as you can see from these news clippings, these problems are severe and require immediate attention and innovative solutions. Next slide, please. So to address these issues, we present WildGuard AI, India's first bioacoustic monitoring device, powered by Edge AI, IoT, and a decentralized network. So our solution consists of two main components. WildGuard AI is designed to capture and analyze bioacoustic data in real time, providing crucial insights for wildlife conservation and environmental monitoring. And while Edge Analytics process this data for visualization and alerts. So let's look at the key benefits of our solution. So rapid detection. So we can quickly identify disturbances and anomalies in the environment and real-time insights. So by processing data locally on the edge, we provide real-time, accurate, and auditable information for proactive decision-making. Also, risk assessment. So our systems can analyze vast amount of data to evaluate potential risk to wildlife and habitat, and we also assess the impact of environmental hazards to inform recovery efforts. So with WildGuard AI, we aim to enhance the effectiveness of conservation of efforts and protect our planet's biodiversity. Next slide, please. So let's take a closer look at how WildGuard AI works. So our system uses a network of AIoT modules strategically placed throughout the forest. So these modules communicate with each other using LoRaWAN technology. So this robust communication network ensures comprehensive coverage of large areas, providing real-time data on wildlife movements and potential threats. The anomaly detected, whether it's illegal logging, human-wildlife conflict, or poaching, or even wildfires. So these anomalies are processed locally using Edge AI, and the result is transmitted to an internet module, which connects to an online database. So this centralized database allows for seamless data integration and analysis. And then the field officers and first responders receive instant alerts and insights from the database, enabling them to act swiftly to prevent human wildlife conflicts, poaching incidents, and other environmental threats and hazards. For example, if it's human wildlife conflict, it will be for farmers and like range officers and park officers and forest officers like firefighters. Next slide, please. So this is our prototype and MVP. So we for wildfires we are at an MVP stage, and for other use cases we are at a prototype stage. We have done we have tested like all the 5 different use cases with 3 test pilots, and we are able to detect these incidents under 300 seconds with more than 95% accuracy. So far, we have collected 125,000 data points. It took 18 months to build this product. This is a prototype picture. Next page, please. So we currently operate on the Western Ghats and the Himalayas. So we currently work with farmers in the Western Ghats and 2 NGOs, including Habitat Trust and universities. So with CCMB, we asked for validation support, access to conservation organization, science and innovation lab, R&D support, mentoring and funding. Next slide, please. Next slide. All right. So being a social impact and the climate impact, we help protect what matters. So we hope to deploy 34,000 devices by 2030 over 1,000 square kilometer area, which will be, sequestering more than 100 million tons of CO2. That emissions will be prevented by 2030, which will be equivalent to more than 15 million cars off the street, and will be protecting more than 55 million flora and fauna in that area. We also protect our ecosystem emissions, and we also protect the indigenous communities and also from the biodiversity loss. Next slide, please. So we are a team of innovators on a mission to enhance climate resilience and protect our ecosystems from extinction. Myself, Deepu Varghese, I have 8 years in the tech experience. I take care of product engineering and design. Anish is our deployment engineer, helping us with testing and so on. Ajesh and Shalu are research associates, helping us with field tests and so on. So these are the companies that where we worked, where we gathered all the experience. We acquired all the experience to build the product. We're also backed by NIT Calicut and IIT Mandi. That's where we are incubated. And next slide, please. So we believe, in conclusion, so WildGuard AI is a groundbreaking solution designed to address these severe ecological threats that we face today. And so we invite you to join us in this crucial mission. For partnerships and collaborations, please email us at hello@noac.tech. And thank you for your time and attention. We look forward to questions and discussions. Thank you.
So I'll start maybe. So what is the price point of each device?
So we are currently at an MVP stage. So right now it's about $450, about 36,000. So once we scale the productions, we will be able to bring it down to 25,000.
And in your engagement with the forest department as well as NGOs,
we do that. We don't directly reach out to forest departments because we had hard time getting into them. So right now we do through that through NGOs and conservation organizations like Habitat Trust.
Right. Are there any commercial inquiries that look promising in your talks?
Yes, so we have like interest from the utilities companies as well as the sustainability side, because we were part of like a venture studio program in Switzerland. So through them, we are actually getting most leads. And it's actually from, the governments have like, it's mandatory for companies in the West to declare their biodiversity impact. So that side where we see some sort of light at the moment.
Yeah, and what is the frequency of these devices per square kilometer, for example?
So if it's about the wildfire detection use case, it's about 100 meters. So within 100-meter radius, we are able to detect wildfires under 300 seconds. The same use case for other use cases that we do through acoustic sensors, that takes about like from 500 meters to up to
500 meters, is it?
Yeah, 500 meters to up to a kilometer. But in the night, we sometimes we can get more than 2 kilometers.
Any reason why you haven't used image processing or camera-based modules in addition to all this?
Yes. So one is the connectivity challenge, then the amount of data. So what we do is we use LoRaWAN. We only send the results. So how we do that is we use Edge AI models within the device. So let's say if it captures the sound of a chainsaw to detect an illegal logging, it will immediately process within the device and it will give the result as like chainsaw detected in this particular region. And then it will only send that result back to the network because LoRaWAN has a very low bandwidth. So we can only send the results to them. And once it's hit the database, that's when we send out all the alerts.
Can you repeat what you said about your progress with NGOs in terms of commercial interest?
We are still building models for them. So for a very big conservation organization, we built a model for them to identify Indian cuckoo, the bird species, and those discussions are actually going on. But we are completely at this, the prototype MVP stage. To commercialize this level of technology, we really need to raise funding. We are already in the process of raising funds to commercialize.
How old is the company?
We are, see, this started as a side project of me and through NIT Calicut, I've supported under Nidhi Prayas program. And after 1 year, when we had the prototype, that gave me like some sort of validation to build the product further. And that's when we incorporated the company. So it's almost like 2 years we are working behind the solution. Okay.
Great. Good luck. I'm offline. Get in touch to do maybe a small pilot in our.
Sure, definitely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, Deepu. Thanks so much for that presentation. That was really nice to hear as well. I'm curious to hear from you. You said you're building out use cases for other kind of applications as well. In your understanding, how would this work in case of a human-wildlife conflict issue, for instance? Let's say there's an elephant entering into a farmland, for example. How does it? How do you conceptualize it works there?
Right. So for human, like for elephants, what we do is we try to detect their vocalizations, and so we don't normally just detect just by the sound. We also do behavioral analysis, like whether they're happy, sad or angry, and by understanding the vocalization. So we have a very small scale model is built right now to detect elephants through their vocalizations. And then once it's detected, we are able to send alerts to the farmers as well. So that's how the whole process currently works. But we are also planning to integrate echo acoustics as well. So that's when we will be able to do much more.
And when you say alerts to the farmers, it's in the form of a SMS or something that's going to them saying there's an elephant in the vicinity.
That's right. So there is an elephant in the vicinity. So they can protect their homes, crops, cattle, and so on. So that's the end goal for the farmers. At the same time, the same information will be sent out to the rapid response team as well. So that they can come on site and they can stop the hate attacks against the elephants as well. So they can pacify.
And what's the tech required both on, say, you said your consumers are going to be conservation organizations or the forest department, for instance. What's the tech requirement on their side to adopt this product?
See, one of the challenge that we face is we're currently in the middle of TRL 5 and 6. So they really needed a TRL 9 product with certified ones. So that is what, before that, they don't even want to do a pilot in the forest area. So that's why we, as an early adopters, we do it with the farmers who stays near the protected areas because they often faces crop raiding. So that is where we currently do our test pilots.
So just a word of advice. I mean, as someone who works on conservation, we have very limited capacity in terms of what can be done in the forest. It's still heavily dependent on the forest department. We are heavily dependent on the forest department. So even if I were to purchase this, or even if I were to purchase a drone, for instance, I couldn't fly it without permissions from the forest department. So it's effectively the same, but adding another layer of complexity in a sense as a business for you. So my suggestion is to start working with the forest departments more closely. The large scale adoption of this is only possible through them. Even with the organizations across the country, you're still looking at relatively smaller, a small limited consumer base versus the forest department, who are truly the ones who are everywhere and can enable a lot. So I think if you can show them use case in multiple scenarios, there's no reason why they wouldn't take it up. But my suggestion is that they would be the biggest client going forward.
Exactly.
The conservation organizations are going to play a small role, yes, but nothing can beat the expanse and the budgets that the governments have.
Exactly. So that's 100% clear. Initially, what mistake that we did is we approached the range offices and park offices and district range offices, and they don't want to, to be honest, they don't want to implement this solution. Then that's when we started reaching out to PCCF and TFOs. So that's where we see some light, where they are almost okay to, try out the solutions. So, but we are trying to nearing that stage of outdoor deployments. Currently, we are just testing it on operating environmentals where if there is a demo is needed, that's what we currently do.
Understood. And same offer to you as Mr. Surya Rao. If you'd like to do field trials, we're happy to see how we can engage at our project sites as well.
Great, thank you so much.
I had a question. What kind of vocalizations that the animals perform are captured through your device? Is there a frequency range or needs limit that you have with respect to your sensor?
Yes. So the bioacoustic sensor that we currently use, it can handle up to 20,000 hertz. And for example, to give you an example, the elephant calls that we were studying for the last 10 months, we see different variations in the frequency sound. For different vocalizations, we see different patterns. We analyze the spectrogram, then we see different patterns. So that is why we do classification based on that spectrogram. We don't really use spectrogram, but we use other technology to classify those vocalizations. So we see like different
sub audio frequency of ours, right? You can't hear it.
Okay, am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear. No, I'm saying the calls that you record of the difference, is it below our audible frequency?
Its audible frequency is what being recorded through bioacoustics at the moment. But like I said previously, we also have plans to incorporate echo acoustics. That's where we can record these sounds where that is not, human audible sounds, like not human audible sounds can be detected as
well. Anybody? Saket?
Yeah, Saket, you have any questions?
All covered. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Deepu, for this. Now we'll move on to the next presentation from Mr. Harshit.
Thank you.
Debugging it. Yeah, Harshit, you can start.
Yes, sir. Just a second. Sir, I am visible, sir?
No.
Yeah. No, you're not visible. Hello.
Just a second. Okay.
Yeah,
now you're visible.
Okay. So, Jai Hind, everyone. Myself, Harshit Borana. I am the founder of Team Debugging Earth and currently working on a project called Tree Cutting Alerting Device, which is also known as Vatrakshak. So the problem we faced in our Udaipur local areas and Aravalli Hills and southern part of India and the northeastern part of India is illegal deforestation of sandalwood, agarwood, and the red sandalwood. These are the precious tree which is very costly and targeted by the thieves, as well as the forest fire incidents in Aravalli forest area, specifically in the part of Udaipur and Uttarakhand and Himachal. has increasing day by day in every year. Next slide, please. So, what are the conventional strategies which is used by the government? So, government is using throughout zoning from the local peoples, from the forest management, drone-based, but they are not like specifically targeting the like precious trees like sandalwood and agarwood and the red sandalwood. Next slide, please. So, what is the solution we have? We have a tree cutting alerting system. So it is basically a device. Here you can see that its size is 5 by 5 centimeter only and solar based. Now, what our device will do? Our device will detect and inform the forest officer, local peoples, and the police officer throughout messaging and from the notification. It will also detect the forest fire. It will also have the cheapest tracking. For example, we have a sandalwood tree there. Now we will install this tree between two branches, and it has a very small size, so it can also not be identified from the thief also. So whenever a thief will try to cut the tree from the vibration and from the XYZ concept, we are using the gyroscope. Whenever the tree is tilt around 75 degree or a 45 degree, we get the notification to the forest department and the police. Now we have also MQ2 sensor and the like DST11 sensor for identifying the forest fire. It is also solar based. It works like 24 hours continuously. And the best thing is the price of the product. It is only 1500 rupees. Currently, we are using like currently its MBV price is 1500 rupees. Next slide, please. The methodology which we are using is like as you can see in this image, we have three areas like area 1, area 2, and area 3. We have installed multiple device on our previous trees. Like in Rajasthan, in Udaipur, we saw that the illegal deforestation, the thief target only sandalwood tree, red sandalwood tree, and the agarwood tree in the local area. And specifically, the police can't identify the thief and the place where they stored the tree. So we are able to identify the thief as well as where they store the tree. So what here happens? What here we our device works on right now. Our device works on Wi-Fi. So we have a mesh network around 100 meters, and the from the Wi-Fi the data sends to the cloud. Currently we are using ThinkSpeak cloud and the Firebase, and then the data travels to the web application and the mobile application. Next slide, please. So what's the impact of our idea? It saves the valuable trees like sandalwood, agarwood, and red sandalwood. Right now, like in all over India, we have a major problem of red sandalwood and sandalwood illegal cutting, and the smuggling of the trees. Like daily in Rajasthan, almost 20 to 30 trees are cutted. So we will reduce illegal cutting of the trees. We will track the trees by the GPS. We have forest fire detection system. We will tag the asset, and the product is also eco-friendly. Next slide, please. So what we have done yet? We are on a developing stage. Our product is under. We are working on our patent, as well as we have discussed this idea to the Udaipur forest officer from Sir TFO Mohit Seni sir. He gave us permission to implement 100 Vatrakshak, 100 tea cutting alerting system on Masna Magra forest area, as well as the Karni Mata forest area, where the every day there will be in every month uh, there will be 20 to 30 trees are cutted. uh, Thank you so much. This is all about my device and all of that. I want to host to please show the video that I have sent of like a demonstration of the video.
Thank you, Varsi.
Oh, yeah, just a minute.
As you can, as you know that illegal deforestation and forest fire has increased day by day in India.
Ritika, we can't see the video.
Just a minute, trying to
So we
play.
have developed a solution that which is known as
Just a minute. Just a minute.
This one.
Also do screen share.
So, thank you very much. Myself, I'm the founder of CCMB. And we have working on our product called Basara. So, thank you very much.
I hope the members in the online can see the video.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Please proceed.
Founder of
Thank you.
CCMB. And we have working on our product called Basara called tree cutting alerting systems. As you can, as you know that illegal deforestation and forest fire is increasing day by day in India. And we have not a specific solution in a IoT or any technology. So we have developed a solution that is known as tree cutting alerting system. As you can see that we have implemented our system on this tree. We have installed this system on this tree, and it's getting the data to us on our laptop. We have ESP file with all the data like GPS, live location, and light long of the position. If we have installed RD, X, Y, and Z axis concept. This is the co-founder of the team. So I am here to give a demonstration of our product. Let me just introduce you the three basic key features of our product. That is the first one is the it can sense the tree cutting, and the other one is it can sense the forest fire as well as smoke, and other one is the it can just sense the GPS of our product wherever it is installed. So let me just introduce you the first feature. So this is a demonstration prototype. Here I am symbolizing the tree with the pole, and as you can see that we have just installed our product here, and now I am just getting it down. So it means that the tree has been cut down. So when the tree has been cut down, it can give the demonstration in our laptop, which I can see you. Here, as you can see that whenever I have just dropped the tree down, it gives us the notification and a graphical representation of the on three axis that whenever I just cut down the tree in any of the direction, it can give me the notification. And as you can see that there are the many other wedges also for the forest fire and the locations. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So with this, we are done with all the presentations. We're going to take a short break.
Ma'am, any questions?
Okay, sorry. We're gonna ask some questions now. So who's going first?
Can I go?
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Karthik.
Hi. Yeah, good work. But I just want to know why this unit seems a little complicated, and fitting it on every tree is going to be very cumbersome. How are you going to overcome that issue? What is the power source? How is it going to be powered? And what if the device itself is stolen, not the tree?
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, sir, we already worked on that part. So, sir, right now our device size is 5.5, like 5 by 5 centimeter. It's a very mini device, sir. And it will be installed between two branches and it will be camouflaged. Sir, as you can see that I have a device in my hand. Right now it is little bit big, but if we work on our like we are at the ideation stage and we just develop this product by ourselves by using some sensors and the component. We are engineering students of electronics, so we have developed just a small part. But if we took the mentorship from the IoT experts and from the some from experts from the IoT field, we will definitely make this product mill more smaller. And the part of the energy, it is solar based. We have a mini solar panel on it. As you can see that we will install mini solar panel on our device, which give the power to our device continuously for the 24/7. It has if you talk about the night, it has 12-hour battery backup, so it will run continuously. And it works right now it is working on a Wi-Fi network on the range of 100 meters. But in future we will definitely implement the LoRa WAN network, which increase its range to the 15 kilometers. And uh, the cost we are targeting is 3,000 rupees only for a particular tree, because we can't spend like 10 to 15,000 rupees for saving a particular tree. We have to reduce that amount to very less so that we can target more and more trees.
How is fire sense?
Sir, we have a MQ2 smoke sensor as well as DHT11 temperature sensor. So by that, we can identify the smoke level rising as well as the temperature level rising. Whenever the smoke and the temperature level rising from the above the 50-degree above, our device will send the alert, and the forest rangers will check the location. And the latency is only 15 seconds, sir.
Yes, Sumant, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Harshit, thanks for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
You mentioned that the Udaipur Forest Division has already permitted you to set up a few. I have two questions. One, if you can tell me how that is going, how long you've been in the field, and what your feedback has been. Once you complete that, I'll ask the second part of my question.
Sir, from last week we got the permission from the Udaipur Forest Department, and we have almost from the Forest Department gave us the data that they have around 1 to 2,000 sandalwood trees that we have to implement our idea on that only, uh, targeting the specific type of trees only. And have just gave the permission to testing our product on that area, and they are saying that they will provide funds to implementing and testing this idea.
Understood. And I think we'd be curious to know how the test goes as well. And can you also tell me the device triggers a warning when a tree leans over a certain degree, certain angle, right? So is the goal of your product to prevent the trade that happens in these trees after it's cut? Because the detection can only happen once the tree tilts to a certain angle.
No, sir. We will alert when the tree is started cutting, like throughout the machine or from the like. We have two types of sensor. We have a gyroscope sensor whenever the tree is tilted, and second sensor is vibration sensor. So if a tree is vibrate on a specific frequency, we will identify that it is cutted on.
Understood. And
we have a proper product that which is showing the correct data. Like we have implemented, and we have also demonstrated the thing.
And why the focus on these tree species, if I may ask, just these?
Because sir, they are very costly. Like around if you talk about the sandalwood tree, it is 1.5 lakh, and It is a thing that's
Harshit, I think you're having some network issues. Hello. Lost you for a bit there. Could you repeat?
so if I want to give an example, if there is an movie called Pushpa movie. So in that movie they show that the rat sandalwood cutting. It's just an example, ma'am, but red sandalwood cutting. And I also researched about the sandalwood and red sandalwood agarwood trees in all over India. It is illegal cutting of that trees are increasing day by day. And the smuggling of the trees also.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Harshit.
Thank you so much.
Saket, do you have a question?
Not really a question, but like really a interesting idea to begin with, and I understand the potential of it growing in a private sector as well when it comes to plantations and all. But again, I want to know, like you have mentioned that forest department has asked you for the pilot. Have you ever implemented the sensors and all? Can you give some numbers on accuracy of the detection, what you are mentioning?
Yes, sir. We have tested this product in our college. We have implemented our product on 5 trees. We have targeted 5 trees on college, and we put it our devices for 1 month, and we have the basic data like change variation in the temperature, humidity, and the like direction of the tree, because this is a monsoon season, so we have find the some degree of changes of the tree like through the air and the wind. So yeah, we have that raw data, but we are more focusing on the proper data and accuracy.
So, like you're using AI-based models to calculate the differences, right? Like or detection itself.
Yeah, sir. We need some IoT mentors and like enthusiasts to help us, and the engineers. So yeah,
It would be
electronics.
it would be nice to look into like what it grows into. It's a really interesting idea, and one more like a suggestion for that matter. Um, oh, I lost it. If I get it, I'll we can connect offline and we can definitely talk about it.
Sure.
So, Harshit, have you guys looked at off-the-shelf LoRaWAN trackers, which I understand are very small these days?
Yes, sir. Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, so there are LoRaWAN trackers, miniature trackers, which are off the shelf. Have you looked at any of them?
No, sir, not yet, but we will definitely. Yes.
Because if you want this to be a deterrent, right? If somebody sees a giant device on the tree, nobody's going to cut that tree down, right? Like with solar
Yes.
panels. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Has to be almost invisible if it has right to be useful.
But sir, we have a very small size, and the LoRa we will use is it's a 8266 LoRa 8266. It's and the sensor size is like this only, like very small size sensor we have, and we have already worked in one of the hackathon in a Kavach hackathon last year to detecting the illegal activities across the border. We have already worked on the LoRa device. We just working on the like MVP product of on implementing on the tree cutting system, sir.
Yeah, also, waiting for the tree to vibrate or lean is too late. I think you need to catch it before it happens. Think along those lines.
Sure, sir.
Thank you. We'll connect offline. Sounds very promising, but I think you need to tweak things a little bit.
Certainly, definitely, sir. We will connect offline, and I will happy to work with you, sir.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, I just blanked last time. I just wanted to add in about the real-time use as well. So as Surya mentioned, like we would like to even test it out in our real-time environment rather than a college setup, because it would be a different exposure altogether for the device as well in a real forest or in that space. So yeah.
Yes, sir, definitely, sir. We will collaborate and work. Yes, sir.
Okay, just be there.
Sure.
So
Sure.
we'd like to thank all the participants and all the teams. They brilliantly presented, and of course, problem statements are well expressed by all of you, and the synergies by each of your team members as well, well reflected. What we are thinking is that the jury is kind of discussing now after 5 minutes, but we'll be kind of doing proper due diligence within our AIC teams regarding your ideas and your companies, so that we can come back to you with the results on a great day. We'll be letting you know on that in a sooner time. So we thank all of you and each of you for being with us for the past 2 hours, patiently, presenting your works and ideas. So we'll get back to you soon by an email communication. Thank you so much for all of you, and you can leave the room right now, and we'll get back to you probably in a week time also. Thank you so much to all of you. Take care. And jury members, please stay back with us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.